Ladies and gentlemen, so much money has been lost in a short period of time. There have been many rumblings about a recession, and I really believe it's going to happen. It is pretty inevitable. But as of Friday, this past Friday, according to Market Watch and other financial news that came out, the Dow wiped out over 3 years of stock market gains. And this is done. This is money lost. And it's at the point they can't regain this back. They try to, but it's just not working out. How worse can it get? How worse can it get? That's the question many investors are undoubtedly asking themselves after a week of historic volatility that saw stocks suffer another plummeting and drove the Dow Jones Industrial Average to its lowest since December 2016 as CV continues to grow worldwide. This pandemic promises to push the world into recession. After all that, some investors feel a strong temptation once the market finally shows some stability to declare that the lows are in. But some Wall Street veterans have a word of advice: don't. First, let's acknowledge that none of us can predict when the market will bottom. The number of new CV cases will likely need to peak before we get there. That's a question for the epidemiologists to answer and a challenge for Americans and global citizens to take social distancing and or isolation seriously. Ladies and gentlemen, when you see stuff like this and they're hoping that the warm weather will slow it up, but many of the experts have already said this will go on for 18 months or more. And Trump did admit that this is what the stock market will look like going into the summer. They're projecting this is what it's going to be like even when we reach August. It's hard to believe they're going to keep losing trillions on a regular basis and be able to still maintain this market without it crashing. I don't know. The whole thing just seems a little weird. In fact, for Wall Street professionals warned Nicholas Colas um, of Data Trek Research, the temptation to make a bold market bottom call carries serious career risk. Over my 30 plus year Wall Street career, I have seen more friends fired or lose clients because they tried to pick a bottom than any other single cause, he said in a note Friday. Of course, stocks will stop falling at some point, even if the bear market is still far from over. History offers some reassurance for long term investors, Levitt said. In fact, over the 6 major bear markets we observe, investors would have lost on average 38% between the midpoint and the bottom. 10 years later, an investor would have returned on average 110% cumulative from the midpoint of the drawdown, he said. But the carnage accompanying this bear market is understandably unnerving. The Dow Jones Industrial Average drop minus 4.54%. It dropped more than 17% in the past week for its worst weekly performance since the 2008 financial crisis. Shoot, they keep equating everything to that. Personally, I think they have surpassed it. While the S&P 500 was a minus 0.33%, marked the same milestone with a 15% drop. The Dow and S&P 500, which both traded at an all-time high in February, dropped from records to a bear market, a pullback of 20% from a recent peak. So, ladies and gentlemen, all they can do right now is hope for stability, but I don't see it coming anytime soon. There was an article that I came across this morning when I woke up where some businesses out here don't want customers coming in with cash anymore. They want customers to only use debit and credit cards only. No more exchanging of cash. And I was like, wow, if businesses are saying this, I wonder how much of, because there's really not that many businesses open. So who are these businesses? Are they supermarkets, your pharmacy, the things that they consider essential out here are asking for this? It didn't really say, but I thought it was really interesting, of trying, they could use this to push the entire society into a cashless society. It would be easy for them to do at this point, with people being all nervous and everything about getting any of the germs out here and possibly running the risk of getting, CV. But y'all, the stocks are just looking really sorry these days. It's really looking bad. And Wall Street had to close the trading floor because someone test positive. One of the traders did. So they are doing their work in other locations and they're trying to desanitize Wall Street, but eventually they are supposed to go back. Man, so much has happened. So much. It is just hard to believe this is still just March. Look at the way the world looks when you compare it to February to March just a month ago. Everything seemed like it was just rolling along, and all of a sudden, life is completely disrupted now. But y'all, please tell me what you think of how they lost over 3 years worth of stock gains this past week. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.